forward in this gender-responsive, just energy approach across Africa. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you so much. So, Your Excellency, as you mentioned in your remarks and mentioned to us several times, that the initiative, for its success, will require multiple partners and players, and one of them are philanthropists. And therefore, it's my pleasure to invite a representative of Bloomberg Global Energy Transition Initiative for Africa Program, Mr. 𝒂𝒂𝒔𝒂𝒇𝒊.
Thank you. Your Excellency, Madam President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me stand on already well-established protocols. Your Excellency, I bring you the greetings of Mr. Michael Bloomberg, who will be meeting shortly after this event with Your Excellency. At that point in time, there will be further discussions on support. Your Excellency, we have heard today about clean cooking in the context of global emissions. We have heard today the harrowing personal stories and how clean cooking disproportionately affects women and children. We know that we can draw learnings from other areas of the globe, from Asia, India, and other countries who have halved their their access figures between 2010 and 2023. So we know that universal access is not a problem of technology. It's not a problem of policy. The policy solutions are well known. What we find is the implementation and the funding is sometimes lacking. So we know what we should be doing. We should be providing further policy support, data and analysis to build evidence and store data on how clean cooking initiatives affect women and children, capacity building, and funding, targeted funding at vulnerable groups, women and children. So, Madam Excellency, we know that this is a time for action, and we commend you for having taken action. We will continue to look to your guidance and look for ways with which we can support this very noble initiative. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Your Excellency, NGOs will be critical in mobilizing support for the initiative, and we have already interacted with Energia International Network on Gender and Sustainable Energy from the Netherlands. They have interacted with your government and committed support. And therefore, it's my pleasure to welcome Ms. Sheila Oparaocha from Energia.
Your Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to make an intervention at this milestone event here at COP28. I'd like to start by joining others in extending congratulations to Her Excellency, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, for organizing and for launching the Africa Women Clean Cooking Support Program. I also congratulate you for your leadership, Your Excellency, for including clean cooking in your opening remarks at the presidential segment of the opening of COP28 yesterday. I heard you online and I was listening. I'd like to echo the sentiments of preceding speakers that emphasize the transformative shift in positioning African women as a catalyst and as change agents for the clean cooking revolution that is necessary on our continent. As Ms. Linden already said, the evidence is very clear, and this is empirical evidence that has underscored the pivotal role that women's decision-making as consumers, but also in their productive uses of energy, where thermal energy and cooking energy makes a great percentage, that they are really critical for the widespread adoption and utilization of clean cooking solutions. We can have clean cooking, but it's a different aspect when we're talking about uptake and adoptions, and women are the drivers of this, very much as employees and entrepreneurs, and particularly in distribution chains where we find commercial and conventional distributional channels are inadequate. Moreover, as is demonstrated here today, the leadership of women in policy, in politics, and in finance is indispensable when we are talking about achieving progress at scale. I'd also like to underscore the comments that were made about the leadership of young people, considering that the majority of people on our continent, Your Excellency, are young, and the critical role that they play in driving innovation, in raising awareness, and really just being an activist for transformative change. Your Excellency, my organization, the Energy International Network on Gender and Sustainable Energy, has been working in your country since 2000 with partners such as Solar Sister and the Tanzania Sustainable Energy Gender Network to drive change in the energy sector. We're very proud that your Ministry of Energy has adopted the Sustainable Energy for All Agenda Action Plan to inform your energy decisions. In this regard, together with our partners, Energia has supported 12,000 women entrepreneurs that are growing resilient businesses and providing clean energy in their communities, already reaching over 7 million consumers. In order to leapfrog these tangible results that are made available when women organizations take the lead, we do need our African governments to make clean cooking and gender a central part of national energy strategies, of investments, of budgets, of their NDCs, and definitely in their development cooperation agreements. Your Excellency, let me just conclude. As the co-facilitator of the Sustainable Development Goal number 7 Technical Advisory Group, together with my co-facilitator Hans-Olaf Ibrick, that we look forward to the leadership of our ministers and our excellencies here of making clean cooking central to the stocktake of the Sustainable Development Goal number 7 that will take place next year. Also, in the Summit for the Future, where we do believe our member states will be thinking about post-2030 agenda, that clean cooking continues to be a driver of sustainable development. In conclusion, I do think it's necessary to recognize the role of African women who are leveraging their positions to elevate the visibility, needs, and interests of their fellow African women. Here I'd like to recognize your role, Your Excellency, but complementary to that, also the role of the Second Lady of Ghana, Mama Samira, who is a continuous and consistent voice on this subject the world over. I'd also like to add to this Mama Ruto, the First Lady of Kenya, and also my sister, Damiola Ogumbili, the Special Representative of the United Secretary General of Sustainable Energy for All. We're beginning to see changes on the dialogue of clean cooking and the positioning of women because of the role and the championing of these women in this arena. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our sister. So, Your Excellency, last year in Tanzania, you organized a national dialogue, a national conversation on clean cooking, which excited action and mobilized support. And your government has gone to create a vision and a strategy to transition to 80% in the next 10 years. There are Tanzanians in the audience that have come to support you. And I would like to, with your permission, to allow Ms. Zahira Murtaza, a Vice President of Seaweed Corporation, on behalf of all Tanzanians that have come to support you, to make an intervention.
Good morning, everybody. Madam President, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you all today. My name is Zahira Fazal, and I'm here representing Seaweed Corporation. We are a company in mainland Tanzania and Zanzibar and Pemba that works in the blue economy space. We have championed gender equity, and we are so proud to be here and share in your vision of the clean cooking initiative that we are here to pledge our support to. We work with about 20,000 farmers in Tanzania, 80% of whom are women, so we see a very consistent synergy between our two initiatives. So today we are here to pledge our support for thank you. We are here to pledge our support to your Clean Cooking Initiative program by bringing together the private sector along with the government initiative to convert coastal communities to clean cooking stoves in the very near future. This fits into our philanthropic projects that we do where we are empowering women and girls. So I would like to pledge our support for that and champion our slogan, 𝒂𝒂𝒔𝒂𝒇𝒊. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, as the audience may have noticed, we have been blessed with the presence of your brother, President Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, and also Director General of Executive Director of International Energy Agency, Dr. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕 Birol, and they've come at the right time. And I hope, Dr. Birol, you're prepared to.
Very many thanks, Madam President. May I thank you very much for holding this meeting and putting your finger on one of the most important issues when it comes to energy, climate change, and humanity. Madam President, I work on this issue since almost 3 decades, and I am very happy to see that you, Madam President, brought us together from an angle which is gender. Madam President, I live in Paris. Our organization is based in Paris. In Europe, in North America, Australia, in advanced economies, gender issue is becoming a key issue, which makes me very happy. And one of the main topics we discuss, for example, at the workplace, to have there is no pay gap between the genders, which is very important. The representation of the female employers vis-à-vis male employers at the top level, having equality there. It is excellent going there. But, dear colleagues, when we look at the clean cooking issue in Africa, these are very, very different than the rather grave situation of gender situation in Africa today because of the cooking. Excellencies, we have all the numbers since 30 years. We are looking at this. I give you a couple of them. In Africa, 4 out of 5 families use wood, agricultural waste, animal waste for cooking, preparing the meal. And it is mostly, almost exclusively women. And based on our study with the World Health Organization, this is the respiratory diseases coming from the primitive cooking is one of the 2 reasons for women die prematurely in Africa. So one of the 2 main reasons for premature death for women. Second, several hours of the time of a woman going and collecting wood is robbed by, again, this primitive way of cooking. In addition to women, it is also the children who are with the mother around the cooking activities who are badly affected from this. In my view, this is the most important gender issue I see today in the world, even though we don't hear that much in most part of the world. And, Madam President, dear colleagues, what makes it much more dramatic, the situation, in my view, is we look at the problem, how much money is needed to solve this problem for once and forever. It is really peanuts. You need $4 billion, $4 billion in order to give a solution to this problem. And many countries have already, who had the same problem, already addressed this problem in a good way. I can give you the example of India, for example. In India, they had a Ujjwala program, and they have fixed the problem there. So $4 billion, what is $4 billion? I can tell you in energy terms. I am an energy man, I know only energy. In Europe, after the energy crisis, we are building to import a lot of LNG, liquefied natural gas, the terminals, one after another. To build one LNG terminal costs $25 billion. So you can solve this clean cooking issue 6 times compared to building an LNG terminal. So from that perspective, Madam President, my appeal to, first, the advanced economies, second, the development banks. I have my friend here, the African Development Bank President. We work on this, we discuss on this a lot, to find a solution to this problem with the help of the host countries as well, because you need a very good programming and a good strategy how to deal with this problem. In order to have this problem in hand and to come up with a strategy and with a roadmap, discussing with several government leaders around the world, next year in spring 2024, I am hosting an international conference on the clean cooking, bring the many government leaders from Africa, but also from the advanced economies, energy industry, international financial institutions, to come up with a concrete, pragmatic roadmap to solve this problem. It is a very solvable problem, and it is a major problem. And as International Energy Agency, I am inviting all of us here to come together to Paris to address this problem and provide a solution to this very solvable problem. I thank you very much once again, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Birol, for your inspiring message. Before I invite President Ramaphosa, I would like to give 1.5 minutes to our partner and friend in Tanzania, SNV, Chief Executive Officer, Simon Okono.
Your Excellency, Madam President, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to be amongst you at SNV. We're delighted to be a partner in this important initiative. My remarks will be very brief. I promise you 4 key points around solutions. What's required for an initiative like this? First and foremost, leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, and Madam President, thank you so much for exemplifying that here today and in spearheading this initiative. Secondly, understanding of the realities of the context. And Dr. Adesina, thank you so much for bringing that so powerfully into the room at the beginning of our discussion an hour or so ago. But secondly, of course, an understanding of the economics. And distinguished guest, Madam President, ladies and gentlemen, it's the economics of this. What we need to understand is there's a completely viable economic and business model around this. It's affordable. My organization, SNV, just one example, in Mozambique, hundreds of thousands of cook stoves are generating savings, depending on the tiering of the stove and the fuel used, of between 10 and 20 a month, $10 and $20 a month. It may not sound like a lot to us, but if you're living on less than $2.15 a day, that's an enormous opportunity to get more children into school and to get better access to healthcare. So the business model, ladies and gentlemen, is viable. Thirdly, we must focus on the inclusive, just and equitable transition. To do so, we need to better understand the vulnerabilities in these contexts, and we then need to use more innovative, results-based financing mechanisms to enable the private sector, because this needs political leadership, and then the private sector to be incentivized through those results-based financing mechanisms to take more risk and to push out in those more vulnerable contexts. And my fourth and final point, ladies and gentlemen, we must ensure that the carbon market is working for those at the bottom of the pyramid. We must ensure that the carbon market, which is a part of the solution to this, is enabling greater access to those opportunities that are afforded through cleaner and better technologies. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Simon. Now it's my privilege and honor to invite His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, for what will be closing remarks. Before I invite the President to give the closing remarks. The floor is yours, Your Excellency.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Excellency, President of Tanzania. My apologies for arriving a bit late. We were delayed by none other than the Secretary General. And as he is our collective boss, we needed to spend a little bit more time with him. And I will be very brief as well, but also want to thank you for hosting this event and also for championing the clean cooking solutions in Africa. Now, the question that was raised for us in the moderating part of this whole session was the extent to which South Africa has experience to share in terms of elaborating our own success story on achieving more than 80% access to, in inverted commas, it says clean cooking fuels and technologies in your country. I'd like to put the clean in inverted commas and just talk about the three journeys that we have traversed. Firstly, the initial journey was just to make sure that there's access to electricity. When the new democratic government came into office in 1994, President Mandela sought to ensure that there is access to those who did not have access. We only had about 50% or 52% access in the whole population. We have succeeded in ramping up access to electrical power usage to 93%. People in the deep rural areas transited from using wood, animal products and everything else, cow dung and everything, to using electricity, which meant that there was enormous penetration and access. And that then enabled people to cook, to use electricity as cooking fuel, but it was fossil fuel, as most of our electricity is generated from coal. And having achieved that access, we've now had to move more and more towards cleaner energy. So we are now beginning the transit route to cleaner energy, and that in itself is a new journey that we have embarked upon. But it is a necessary journey, a journey that is going to address the issue and continues to address the issue of gender inequity, inequality, and also addresses the issue of poverty. So as we look at the Sustainable Development Goals, we find that up to 3 of them have to be addressed when you have to deal with the issue of giving access, particularly to women, and in our case, largely in the rural areas. So as we now transiting to cleaner, renewable energy, we are finding that we cannot just do it in one fell swoop, but we also have to do it as part of our transition, a just transition as we call it, where we've got to engage fully with communities in the rural areas and communities in places where we've had coal-fired power stations that have to transit from emitting carbon emissions to power stations that are now based more on your renewable energy fuel sources. But as we do that, we want to maintain the access by women in our country, and that access in the end should speak to an area which Your Excellency, you have really focused on. The clean cooking, in our view, is an urgent development issue with significant benefits for public health, for gender equality, and for the local environment, and in the end for global climate. So in the past, we didn't have access. We've now acceded to great access in the population. We now need to embark on another journey to have real good access to renewable energy. And as we transit all this, obviously, we need to look at new technologies, and what the gentlemen were talking about resonates very well with the journey that we are embarking on. So I think that this session is most timeless because it raises our level of awareness and consciousness about what needs to be done. And so we have, if you like, a dual lesson of having to give people access, and we're now developing lessons even for ourselves and learning from others on embarking on greater access to renewables so that we can solve the problem for many women in our country to have real meaningful access to cooking technologies, clean cooking technologies, and to renewable energy on an equitable basis. So thank you very much for having us at this summit. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Before I give the floor to Your Excellency for the final word, I'd like to make an announcement that tomorrow from 13:15 hours to 14:45 hours at Meeting Room 5, Zone B1, there will be a high-level side event on agricultural opportunities for green growth transformation in Tanzania. Please come and hear such an inspiring story about the present vision for agriculture in Tanzania through my brother and colleague, Mr. Hussein Bashe, Honorable Hussein Bashe, Minister for Agriculture, who is doing fantastic work. So all of us will be there, and we expect also to be joined by all of you. Thank you so much. So, Your Excellency, now the floor is yours for the final word.
For the launch.
Yes, and for the launch.
Yeah, before the final word, I'll be having a launch of the program. Thank you. It's technologically done, so thank you for joining me in this technological launching. Wow.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I thank you all for joining me in this launching. And Excellencies and dear delegates, I wish to thank you, my dearest brothers, President Ramaphosa, President Adesina, presidents and CEOs of international organizations, UN agencies, private sector, civil service organizations, and all of you who are here with us in this room. Thank you very much for your insights, your comments, and your commitments. Certainly, after hearing the valuable insights from esteemed leaders and yourselves, it is evident that clean cooking is not only a practical solution, but also a transformative undertaking. So we believe that our collective commitment should manifest in concrete actions that empower and uplift. The insights shared and commitments made here today gives us added impetus to push forward with this program. I'm convinced that with your collaboration, we can accelerate the achievement of universal access to clean cooking across Africa. Initially, it was envisaged that this would be a 3-year program. However, as it has been said by the UNCDF, however, given the magnitude of the work ahead and the positive response that we have seen here today, it is my reconsidered view that we should grow our ambition even higher and we should institutionalize this program. So as a way forward, I wish to propose that in collaboration with other states and partners, as I have mentioned them, the clean cooking, private sector, civil society organizations, UN agencies, I propose that the United Republic of Tanzania offers to convene an experts meeting in Tanzania in the date specified and will inform all of you. We convene a meeting of experts to work out detailed modalities on how we can best structure and roll out this program to ensure a wide impact is attainable. I believe this way we can better ensure sustainability of this program, and the insights, views, and comments which were given here would be the terms of reference of the meeting to come. We work out on those views and insights given here. So in conclusion, once again, I thank you. I thank you all for honoring our invitation and for your meaningful participation. Clean cooking solutions are not only about stoves and emissions, they are also about empowerment of women and youth. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to conclude by stating that your invaluable contribution will be the driving force behind this transformative journey. Together we can reshape the energy landscape, empower women and girls, and usher in a cleaner, more sustainable future for Africa through a gender-responsive and just energy transition approach. Before joining this event. May I wish you fruitful participation in this COP27. COP28, sorry. 27 we went in Sharm el-Sheikh. So thank you very much for your participation in this discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We'll dismiss. Thank you for starting a movement, Your Excellency. We are with you. Dr. Biro, see you in Paris. Thank you.